State lawmakers have revived a bill aimed at restoring net neutrality rules that were repealed by the Trump administration late last year. Now, the original bill, which was authored by State Senator Scott Wiener of San Francisco, was gutted by a Senate committee last month. But during the last week, lawmakers have come together to restore the main provisions of Wiener's original bill. And those provisions include requiring internet service providers to treat all customers equally, banning so-called zero rating programs, and keeping broadband providers from charging access fees to websites.
We are not out of the woods in this bill. Even though we now have great unity around this, this is going to be a fight. The telecom and cable companies they fight hard. They are effective, and we're confident that they are going to oppose this strongly until the end.
Well, this bill now heads to the Assembly Appropriations Committee. A final version would have to be voted on by the end of August. So joining us now to talk more about the new compromise measure is Ryan Eldridge of Nerds on Call. Ryan, as we mentioned last month, Wiener pulled his original bill, saying that it had really been gutted of what it was intended to do. So what's different about this compromise bill?
Well, ultimately, it's combining two different bills together, and it's just adopting the Obama-era rules from 2015, the Open Internet Order. It's interesting because it was the Communications and Conveyance Committee in California here that gutted those rules, and it was in this really weird way they did it. So it almost seemed like they didn't want that bill to exist or to get anywhere. And so by reintroducing it, it's good news for us. I mean, especially on the heels of just last week hearing about the internet privacy rules that California is taking on, and now net neutrality in California. Obviously, if California puts in real stringent rules for net neutrality, this is going to work nationwide, because there's no way they can ignore California's rules or carve out specific rules just for California and treat people in Oregon or Washington or anywhere else in the country differently.
Yeah, Ryan, we've already seen some other states proposing similar legislation on net neutrality. Yeah. But since the net neutrality rules were yanked, what has been the overall effect on us consumers?
Oh, man, I'm so glad you asked, because I'm so mad at Comcast right now. So right before net neutrality was repealed, everybody was saying, all the telecoms were saying, oh, don't worry, we're not going to do anything. You guys are going to be fine. Well, just 2 days ago, Comcast announced that if you're watching HD video on mobile, they are going to yank that. You're only going to be able to get 480p, and if you want high definition, which of course we all do, you have to pay extra for that, and that's going to be rolling out later this year. That's just the first stage of it. Now, we've already started to see them curtailing things that are perfectly reasonable, like piracy. That's one of the things they wanted to go after. With net neutrality, they can't change or charge differently for any kinds of speed or access, whether it's legal content or not legal content. And so they've already started to clamp down on piracy, which I think is good for consumers as well as creators, content creators, and everything. But when they start poking at the public and they start charging more for services we already expect to have and start rolling things back to like 1998, it's not cool. And I've started to see this happen, and it's just going to get worse until some of these rules really get enacted and we start taking them on in court. Yeah,
just a little bit of time left here, Ryan, but these recent big mergers that we've seen, such as AT&T and Time Warner, State Senator Scott Wiener says, that right there is the point, folks. That's why we've got to enact these net neutrality rules now, and it's more important to do them now than ever.
And that's one of the great parts of this bill, is it talks about the zero rating program, which sounds kind of weird, but ultimately, if you think about it like this, AT&T says, hey, everybody, you're going to be able to get DirecTV for free. We're not going to put it on part of your data caps. It's going to be awesome. Everybody's going to love it. Well, that's because AT&T owns DirecTV. What they're giving is preferential treatment to their own brands. So if you're a small provider, or let's say you're Hulu or Netflix, and you're not buddying up to AT&T, all of a sudden you're at a deficit. You've got to work harder, pay more to get those clients, get your stuff in front of other people. It's not cool. It's bad business, and it's because there's only a few dozen ISPs in the country. We have no real competition. And so I'm hoping the tech firms like Google and Facebook, even though Facebook has just recently abandoned their ISP plan, but I'm really hoping that they can launch something and put these guys on there.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see what happens with this bill. Obviously, we'll be following it. Thank you so much, Ryan.
You're welcome.